Hey, what's up, guys? It is good to see you guys. Well, we can't see you, but it's good. It's good to be back. We took one day off, no basketball, no football, and it felt like we had a week off.
Yeah, that was weird.
Jordy's feeling better.
Yeah, I'm alive.
Almost. Yeah, thank God. Yeah, I could tell, man, you were struggling there, but yeah, geez, we're like a week out from Christmas.
So
like
crazy.
Month is just flying by. I'm eliminated from playoffs in our dynasty league. Man, a lot's happened. Yeah, unfortunately
this time, man.
Yeah, man, it's a bummer. I told you guys I was all in on Addison, and he was close to having that big game. That really irked me, that pass interference in the end zone late in the game. There was good coverage there anyways, but still, I was just like, oh my gosh, that would have won. That would have sent me, advanced me. But the hardest thing for me to stomach is that I had Brian Thomas Jr. on my bench, who went for 35 points. I lost by 2 points. I had a great week. Full PPR. I put up 147 points. Yeah, lost to someone who put up 149 points. But yeah, I've been I'm in that zone now where I'm sort of reflecting on how fun fantasy football was this year, and I already can't wait for the rookie draft.
That's
next
good
year.
That you feel that way, because my brother's like ready to hang his jersey in the rafters. So he says that every year that he loses, by the way. So
man, yeah, it was fun. I'm already pumped for next year, but yeah, we've got this single game slate for Thursday Night Football. The Broncos versus the Chargers. This one was kind of hard to read. We actually did not put together a demon slip for this one because there's just not enough for us to build out the way we would like to. But we'll like look around if you're still looking for demon plays. Towards the back half of the video, once we show you our regular plays, we'll get into there's like at least one demon play that I like, and there might be some kicker demons that we want to take a look at potentially in this game. But yeah, if you're new to the channel, welcome in. We're talking about Thursday Night Football here. We have 4 picks for you that are across the 4 platforms that we cover on our show. Our 3 featured platforms are Betr, Underdog, and Parlay Play. If you use code BACKDOOR at any of those platforms, they're going to hook you up with everything they have to offer for their new users. Parlay Play is going to give you a 100% deposit match up to $100 plus a free $5 promo slip. And we're going to give you a month in our Discord for the Parlay Play sign up as well. All you have to do is email us at bdfantasysports@gmail.com, and we will get you hooked up. We just need your Parlay Play username. We'll verify that it was the code was used, and we'll get you in there right away. For Betr, you're going to get a $200 deposit match plus a free pick to help you cash your first slip. And then Underdog is going to give you up to $1,000 in bonus cash plus that free pick as well to help you cash the first slip. All that information is down below if you want to sign up for any of our partnered platforms. So let's talk about the plays we're going to be getting into. I'm going to be going with Courtland Sutton fantasy score. I like just about everything I'm seeing as far as his lines go, but I'm going to go fantasy score because I feel like he could get into the end zone in this one. I think there's like a good chance of it. So yeah, I decided to go fantasy score. I'll break it all down here in a minute. And then I'm going with Stone Smart, the tight end for the Chargers. I'm going with his receptions over 3.5. Feel good about that. What are you getting into, Jordy?
yeah, it almost sounds like an insult of a name, Stone Smart. Like, sounds like you're calling someone dumb.
With 2 T's.
Yeah, he's really smart. Yeah, I'm going with Quentin Johnston. Over 3.5 receptions. I feel pretty good about this one. And then I'm taking Marvin Mims fantasy score over 6. Getting that on most platform, any platform you can. I do like his receiving yards as well. So either one of those works just fine. A little honorable mention is Troy Franklin's first half receiving yards is at 7.5. That's really low. So just a little honorable mention to throw out there. But yeah, that's going to be my 2.
All right. Yeah. On Betr, I can't get, they only have 2 lines for Sutton right now. So by the time you're watching this, they have the fantasy score for Sutton. That's what I prefer. But if I have to choose between what they're giving me here, I'll take the receiving yards. But I'm bummed that Betr doesn't have more available. I mean, the games this time tomorrow night, the game will be, wrapping up. So hopefully they give us some more before game time. Hopefully by the time you're watching this, if you're playing on Betr, they've got his fantasy score as well. But we're getting that on every other platform. We're getting the fantasy score. We can start with Sutton since I'm talking about him here. Let's just break it all down because fantasy score, we're getting a little bit of everything. I liked his receptions too. Again, I like his receptions, his receiving yards. I just would rather be on the safe side if he gets a bunch of receptions and doesn't get that much yardage, or a bunch of yardage and not as many receptions. Like, the main thing is if he happens to get into the end zone, then I feel like that's the advantage that I want in the play. If we take a look at the receptions, the Chargers are a solid defense. We're playing in Los Angeles for this game, and it's a 42.5 point over under. Chargers favored by 2.5. Just a little side note too, whenever I see a spread that is in that 3 range, it makes me a little bit more enticed to look at field goal props too, for whatever reason, just because, it could be coming down to a close game, and both of these defenses are solid. So I wouldn't be surprised if the kickers get a little extra action and kicking indoors in that nice stadium at SoFi. So yeah, not projected to be super high scoring. You never know what this could look like, but it seems like the primetime games lately haven't been that exciting. So maybe we're in for a treat, but I know both of these defenses are pretty tough. So yeah, anyways, back to Sutton here. Yes, the receptions matchup, 13th in receptions allowed, a little bit above average. And then they actually have his receptions at 5.5 as an EV plus play on Outlier. So there's a little bit of expected value there. He has cleared that in 6 of his last 7 games. One of the reasons I'm enticed about Sutton though is the last few games that he's played on the road, he's played pretty solid. On Outlier, you can switch to just the away games. And the 3 straight away games, he went for 7, 6, and 8. So, obviously with the fantasy score, we're getting that would be 7, 6, and 8 points right there. Then you throw the yardage on there. We're already getting pretty close if he has a similar outing. It's getting pretty close on the fantasy score. But it's really all about that touchdown because he actually gets a lot of red zone targets. As far as the receiving yards look pretty juicy. 21st in receiving yards allowed. So a little bit softer of a matchup when it comes to like the distance of the passes that the Chargers are allowing. So yeah, I mean, like, similar situation to the receptions, 6 out of his last 7 games. That game against Indy was tough. I think people were underestimating the Colts defense there. They're tougher. Like, people even in the Discord were kind of acting a little bit surprised, but I'm like, Indy is actually pretty tough on defense when everybody's healthy. But yeah, here's a little note from Outlier. Sutton has exceeded 64.5 receiving yards in 6 of his last 7 games. Okay, yeah, we know that by looking at the chart, but his average is 85.9 receiving yards a game over the last 7 games. So pretty solid there. But when we get into the targets, he's clearly the target leader by a long shot. Surprisingly, Javonte Williams is number 2 behind him. And he's kind of hard to gauge too, because Sean Payton seems to have like a little bit of a running back carousel going on. Jordy and I were just talking about that before we started filming. But the thing is they're winning games. They are locked in for playoffs, aren't they? I'm not totally sure, but I believe they are. If not, they have a really good chance to make playoffs last time I checked. But yeah, so Courtland Sutton has been averaging a 25.1% target share, so getting a lot of targets. And there's been even games where he didn't get any targets at all, and he still got that much of a lead. But if we look at the red zone, he's by far the red zone target share leader, 32% in the red zone. And then, with that 21 receiving yards, he could end up catching a bomb, taking it to the house. But if we look specifically at the touchdowns matchup, it's soft as well. 22nd in touchdowns allowed to wide receivers. So I'm feeling good about him getting in the end zone. He did get in the end zone against the Colts last week. even though that was somewhat of a tough outing for him. But yeah, so if we put that together with him being the red zone target leader by a lot, 32% is great. And then on top of that, relatively soft matchup as far as touchdowns allowed. I like the way this is looking. His touchdown prop alone is also an EV plus play on Outlier. So I'm feeling good about Sutton in this game, especially with the implications here with the playoffs right around the corner. Once Jordy is getting into his plays, I'll pull up a little bit of extra research just to see the exact implications for both teams, because I think both of them really want this win. I actually think the Chargers might be out. I'll double check all that. But all right, so let's take a look at Daily Grind. So Daily Grind, surprisingly, I mean, it's probably because it's bumped up pretty high. 23.5 is kind of high for a longest reception, but they don't like that. They like that to go under. But they're not super confident. You know, that's just a 50.83% odds to hit the under, minus 121. They like his receptions over 5. I'm pretty sure when we were on Outlier, let me double check here. I think that line, the actual line set is at 5.5. So on these platforms where we're getting it at 5 flat, that's a little bit of extra value there. Like on Prizepicks, 5 flat, solid. Yeah, it looks like Prizepicks might be the only one giving it to us at 5. I also really love the way Prizepicks does the push. You know, when you get the push, it's just a really simple downgrade your slip. Doesn't reset your whole slip and refund you your whole slip. Like sometimes you don't want that, you know, like, so makes it even more enticing. So 5 looks pretty solid. They don't like his fantasy score. They're just slightly favoring it under. It is a little bit more expensive compared to other platforms that are getting it to us in the mid to high 13s. But I wonder what okay, so they don't have the projection for his touchdown. I wonder if that's even on Prizepicks right now. But yeah, they like the receptions to go over. If you'd rather take that, you can take that. They like his receiving yards over 64.5. They have that at 50.22% odds to hit the over, minus 119.
Touchdown's actually a demon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, there's a demon. I would be willing to bet on that one tomorrow.
Yeah.
So that's why it's not on the optimizer. They don't put the goblins or the demons. They kind of let you figure that out. They don't put those on your radar. But yeah, so that being said, yeah, maybe it's kind of tough for him to get in the end zone, but I like the matchup, and 32% target share in the end zone looks pretty solid. I maybe I will. There's just not, I like to make 6-man demon slips when I'm making them. I like to just sort of swing for the fences, and I've had a bunch that we crank the multipliers up, and you even go like 4 for 6 and you get like a 4 or 5x. So that's usually what I'm aiming for when I'm building out demon slips. I'm not really the type to build out a normal slip and throw one demon in there for an extra like 4x or 3x. Like, it's usually not my style. But anyways, feeling good about the fantasy score. Get a little bit of everything, and get the yards, receptions, and Prizepicks is full PPR, so it stacks up quick if he gets his 5 or 6 receptions. And I mean, if he gets in the end zone, I'm pretty sure we're cashed. I'll show you this one last thing here. If we look at the fantasy score, let me just close this down a little bit. So yeah, if we look at the receiving yards, and we see how he went 6 of 7 and he only had 32 receiving yards, so he was pretty well under that. He was not even at half of what his line is currently set at. But because of that touchdown, he was actually not that far off from hitting the fantasy score. So he's just right there at 12.2, even with just 32 yards. So that's why I want the fantasy score in this one. I think that the touchdown is going to secure, like, I think that if he gets in the end zone, he's going to probably cash this as well. But I think he could do it without it too, just off of a relatively high game of receptions and receiving yards. So yeah, all right, let's move on to Stone Smart. I jumped on this early last week in the Discord. I was bummed that it wasn't on my radar until after we filmed the video, because this would have absolutely been in my slips last week, featuring him in the video. But this dude is talented. He's the backup tight end for the Chargers. Will Dissly missed when he was confirmed out. I remember Stone Smart, actually, when he came in for Dissly the week that he got injured, Stone Smart was looking athletic, fast, decent route runner, catching most of what Justin Herbert was throwing his way, and going up there and getting some physical catches. So I was like, okay, this guy, if Dissly's out and we get this dude for a full game, he played 37% of snaps when he when he came in for Disley, when Disley got injured, and he still had a decent outing. So I was like, okay, give me like 60+% of snaps, and I like what this guy's potential could be. And sure enough, Justin Herbert was targeting him, and he ended up cashing all of his lines, fantasy score, receptions, receiving yards. He hit all of his demons as well. So we have Disley out again. So this is a soft matchup at tight end, 23rd in receptions allowed to tight ends. This is an EV plus play as well on Outlier. Yeah, so he went for 5 receptions last week against Tampa Bay, and his current demon is at 4.5. So that was one of the demons that I would consider. I think he's going for 5 receptions in this because he got a decent amount. Let me just see how much Herbert targeted him. Do we have targets on here? Okay, they don't have targets on there as a line, but let me show you the receiving yards, because it wasn't just like these short little dump offs. Yeah, so that game against Kansas City, when he played 37% of snaps and he came in for Disley, 3 catches, he put up 54 yards. These were like pretty decent throws. Let's see, average yards per reception. So yeah, he had 18 yards per reception against Kansas City, which is really tough. And then he only had 10 against Tampa Bay on average, but he still, took down 5, so went for 50 yards. The receiving yards is a little bit tougher of a matchup for the tight end position here against the Broncos. 10th in receiving yards allowed. So I like the receptions. I think he's good for 4 at least. So feeling good about that. And if you want to throw that demon in there at 4.5, like I wouldn't be afraid of it. If there was more for me to build out the slip like I like to, then that would absolutely be the first play that I would put in there for demons, is that 4.5. Let's take a look at daily grind. They don't like his receiving yards at 39.5. I think he's going over that, but yeah, if he gets those 4 receptions and he averages 10 yards a reception again, like he did against Tampa Bay, then yeah, it makes sense. He's just barely knocking on the door of that 40. But they have that favor to go under, 52.43% odds to hit the under, -129. And it is higher on Prizepicks than it is anywhere else. So I think that's what the optimizer's noticing there. They like his longest reception over 16.5. If you're interested in that, 51.49% odds to hit the over. They don't like the receptions over 3.5. They've just barely favored to the under, 50.82% odds to hit the under, -121. And we've got some mixed emotions. Some other platforms are kind of putting their odds at like a 50-50 shot. And then some are heavily juiced, like FanDuel has this heavily juiced to go under. So go with your gut. This is probably the play I'm most confident in on the board, just me personally, because I really believe in this kid's talent, and he showed out in his opportunities. So yeah, go with your gut. I'm going to be taking the receptions over, and if I end up making a demon slip, like I said, I'm absolutely going to throw that 4.5 receptions. If you guys do want to check out this app, Outlier, they're going to let you try this for free. It's a killer company. They've been awesome to work with. And we really love this tool. You can try it out for free. Just sign up through the link below, and the link for Outlier. You don't have to put in a code. You just go through our link, and they're going to give all of our viewers a full week to enjoy this. And you could ride this all the way up till Christmas. You know what I mean? And just enjoy the little trial. Anything I say, Jordy cracks.
I'm sorry. I got an immature brain still. I'm 23 years young. It gets the best of me sometimes.
It's all good. But yeah, so if you guys want to check this out, you can see it covers everything: receptions, touchdowns, first quarter TDs, second quarter TDs, like any sort of prop that is out there on these different platforms. They've got you covered. Prizepicks fantasy score, Underdog fantasy score, because Underdog's half-point PPR, so it is a little bit different. There are some plays that you might want to take in full point format, but not be as interested in a half point. But yeah, go check this out. They cover. Actually, let me get it back on something like receiving yards. This is one of my favorite things about it. Like, I just love being able to say, okay, overall, yeah, like this is a perfect example. So the Chargers overall, we talked about it, strong defense, 9th in receiving yards allowed. But where do they have a soft spot? You go specifically to the wide receivers, and they're 21st. So I love having those extra details from Outlier. It's a killer tool. Injury reports. Let me just make sure we don't have anything that is okay. No, yeah, I think we're all good. as far as injury report goes, at least for the Chargers, and Broncos look good to go too. But yeah, the injury report tab is awesome. And then insights, this insights tab is dope. It's like they give you all of these props that they think statistically look good based off of the way their charts are pulling all these stats up, and they give you a note as to why they think this looks good to go over or under. And then they put the actual link to the platform where they're finding that value, and then you just click that and it'll take you to that platform and pull that up for you right there, making it nice and easy for you. But yeah, sign up through the link below, get a free week, and I'll pass it over to Jordy and look into these playoff implications real quick.
All right. Yeah. So I just want to point this out. Will Dissly has been ruled out of this game, and they have a touchdown demon on Prizepicks. So stay away from Will Dissly.
That better
props.
be like 1,000x for that one pick.
Yeah, it's giving me only like a 3x on it. So it's actually giving you a 10x. But yeah, it's because he's not going to play, so they're trying to rob you there. But,
wow, I can't believe that's even up there.
I know, that's ridiculous. But yeah, so I feel good about Marvin Mims at 6 fantasy score. He's been getting involved a lot more. This game is going to be a little tough. So, I mean, I'm not going to go too crazy in this game, to be honest. I think it's going to be a little bit of a tough game both ways. Two really good defenses. A lot of like underperforming positions on a lot of teams, on both these teams. So just I would say be careful in this game. There's still some value to be had. Like I think, like even looking at this, Mims had a really bad first half of the year, but the last 4 games he's really turned it on, right? He's gone for 7, 13, 7, 19, and 6. So he's hit this line 4 times and pushed it once. So I'm gonna roll the dice on it. I feel good about it. Last head-to-head, he got no love. That was last year. So, I mean, yeah, of course. Or actually, no, that was on October. So, like I said, first half of the year, he really did not get any love. Now he's been involved with the team, so he's definitely getting some share. It's kind of like weird. It's either him or Valet. It doesn't ever seem like they go off simultaneously. He is an EB plus to go over 2.5 receptions, so 3 receptions would get us halfway there on the fantasy score. And then I think he can do the rest. I mean, if he scores a touchdown, he hits this instantly, right? So I think it's worth shooting at for sure. I think Mims can get over this 6 fantasy score, no problem, as long as he gets the targets. I can't help when these guys don't get targets. We're not getting cute with the plays. These guys just don't get the target sometimes, right? So it is what it is, and that's just the nature of it. Sometimes it sucks, but this guy's the wide receiver 2 or 3 on the team. He should get involved at some point. So I feel good about it. At 6, I'm going to be rolling the dice on this one to go over. If you look at the matchups, obviously the matchups aren't going to change much for mine. 21st in receiving yards allowed. Pretty solid matchup, right? So he went for 105 receiving yards against Cleveland. We need him to do half of that with like 3 catches, and he'll hit this fantasy score. So feel really good about him potentially going over, this 24.5 receiving line, as well as the fantasy score at 6. So like I said, I feel good about it. I'm going to be taking it over. His fantasy score is juiced under, and so is the receiving yards. So if you don't like Mims, you don't got to go with him. But I have a good feeling he's going to be a part of this this game plan. So taking him real quick, I'll go over this Troy Franklin first half receiving yards. Looks pretty solid. Over the last 10 games, he's hit it 7 out of 10 games. It's only at 7.5, so worth rolling the dice on, in my opinion. He didn't get it in the last game against Indy, but he did have 5 targets and 2 receptions in that game. So he hauls in 1 reception. I think he cashes this line. 7.5 is stupid low. So keeping an eye on Troy Franklin's first half receiving yards. I think that's super ridiculously low. But my other play that I do want to take is Quentin Johnston, 3.5 receptions. I think he's going to have to be involved in this, right? I think he's probably going to get a lot of the attention on the defensive side of the ball. So 3.5 catches does not seem like a lot, right? But QJ, he's hit or miss. So I think in this game, they're going to need him to get 4 receptions or more. I think he's going to be in that 5 reception range. He's getting targeted heavily now. 7 targets against Kansas City, 10 against Tampa Bay. Obviously, they're playing catch up in that game against Tampa Bay. So take that with a grain of salt. Against Cincinnati, though, where there was 34-27 and they win that game, he had 8 receptions also. So tough defense. They're definitely a pass funnel-ish type defense, right? So they're gonna, let you catch the low balls, but they're gonna make sure you don't go deep on them. So I do like. See, it's not that hard to go that route with the thinking, but I'm not riding it all the way to Christmas. I can tell you that much. But
Oh, you're going deep.
yeah, I'm going deep. No low balls. We're going deep with these ones. But Quentin Johnson over 3.5 receptions. I think this one is a pretty solid play. So I do like this. He's getting a ton of the targets, right? I mean, he's second in target share. Ladd McConkey is going to be heavily guarded in this game. I think that they're really going to try to take Ladd away. Teams that have successfully done that against them this year have really hindered their offense. So I think QJ is going to have to work, and I think that's going to be a big part of it. So maybe my narrative is completely wrong, but he's second in target share, 16.3% of the target share. So pretty solid. Will Dissly is not there to, dominate the volume on the target share anymore. So I think QJ is going to be involved. And since he's been out, if we take a look here, games without, this is why Outlier is awesome. We can go to Will Dissly here, and you can see the target share here. Obviously, the beginning of the last year, we don't even want to talk about that, but this year, without Will Dissly, he has gone for 10 targets and 5 receptions. So no Dissly, he's getting heavily targeted. So that's what I like to see. I think that'll help out a lot. I think Stone Smart is definitely a good player too, and I think all these guys are going to get some love. But I think that helps Stone too, because I really think Ladd's going to get taken away in this game. So I'm a little scared of McConkey in this game. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he just dominates anyway, which it wouldn't surprise me, but we'll just see how it goes. So yeah, that's going to be my 2/3 plays. If you guys want to check out the optimizer from Daily Grind, it is awesome. You hear us talk about it in every episode, but my God, it is the best tool you can get for finding plays. The way the optimizer works is amazing. And, the odds to hit indicator is super awesome. They give you their odds to hit, and then they give you all the other odds from all the other platforms, and they show you the best plays on the board. So here's some for Sunday that they already have out here if you guys want to pause and look at some of these gems. But yeah, that's going to cover it all from us, or at least for me. So go to dgfantasy.com and use code BACKDOOR for 25% off of that first purchase with them. So really good deal over there. But I'll pass it over to Russo.
All right, let's take a look at this playoff picture real quick, since I pulled that up. This actually excited me. I was confusing the Chargers with another team. They are both in the hunt. So we have our clinched teams right here. And then the teams that are in the hunt, this is going to be a good game now. Now that I'm looking at the actual implications, Broncos currently have a 92% chance of making playoffs. Very impressive. 9-5. Like, it just... I did not see this coming. The same with Washington. Like, the Broncos, I believe in Sean Payton, but they've had a lot of surprises. Bo Nix has evolved quickly. Him and Sean Payton seem to be on the same page. I could see this being a long-term good connection between these guys. But yeah, 9-5. They have a 92% chance right now. If they win, they're basically in. They have a above 99%. And then you got the Chargers at 8-6, 87% currently. And then if they win, they're at 97%. So both of these teams really need this win. So that kind of changes things a little bit. So I started looking at the board more, and I got a couple more plays for you guys. At least one more. So I saw that the Bo Nix rushing yards is trending. A lot of people are taking that. And so I dove in because over the last 5, he hasn't really been using his wheels much, but we know that he's fast. He's athletic. He's kind of like a Taysom Hill. And so I'm like, okay, I know what he's capable of. So against Indiana, he went for 23, but the reason I was kind of steering away is because I'm like, okay, but he's been kind of pocket passing and for the last few weeks before that. Well, the matchup is relatively soft. If we look overall, 19th in rushing yards allowed, and then even softer for quarterbacks, 22nd. And with the pressure that the Chargers can actually get on the quarterback, there might be a decent amount of scrambling that turns into positive yards for him. And then we look back here at the head-to-head, and he went for 61 yards in October when he played against them, 61 rushing yards. And the Chargers won that game 23-16. So all of a sudden, I'm really interested in, I'll be honest with you guys, especially on Prizepicks, because of the correlation with the multipliers. If you're taking like a passing, any sort of like fantasy score or passing with quarterbacks, and you have anybody from the same team, your multipliers plummet. You'll do a 6-man and get like 10, 12 X on it. So So when I'm throwing quarterbacks into my lineup, I mostly look like, do these guys have, I like to find quarterbacks that are somewhat sneaky where the line isn't too high, but you know what they're capable of. Someone like Justin Herbert, even 11.5 rushing yards. I'm not saying I'm going to be taking his rushing yards in this game, but something like that, like Baker Mayfield is great for that sneaky, his lines will be at like 12.5 and he could go for 30 like any given game. But yeah, so Bo Nix 20.5 looks really good to me. Actually, I would be taking this for more, and I would bump this up if you're looking for another demon play. 29.5. He doubled that last time they matched up, and this is a really important game. So we'll see. I'm sticking with my 2 plays for my official plays for the video. But we're always looking for extra value for you guys when we're just hanging out. And when I saw that rushing matchup, man, I wish we had a definitive guy for the Broncos that we could trust. But that rushing matchup, let's just pull it up real quick. See what Javonte did last time they played with this matchup. All right. Team injuries. Oh, McLaughlin is out. Okay. All of a sudden, this is getting a little bit interesting. McLaughlin has been getting... yeah, so he exited the game against the Colts. We watch Red Zone, so sometimes we miss some of these important moments because we just absolutely love Scott Hansen and Red Zone on Sundays. But this was the Monday game, so that must have, or was it not? No, this wasn't the Monday game, was it?
I can't remember, honestly.
No, that was Sunday versus the Colts. Okay, so yeah, we know that the matchup is relatively solid. So he only went for 23 yards last time they played, and so real quick, just because we want to get you guys the value, let's pull up Audric Estime and see what he did in that game. Because sometimes like different running backs fit a particular profile, and so this is favored to go over. This was a minus 120. He only went for 13. Last thing I'm going to do, just because we're looking for a little bit of extra value for you guys, Jaleel. He's not going to have any. Okay. I wanted to pull up and see what Jaleel did in that game. Someone is going to beat their line. 39.5, 24.5. Man, I wish we knew. Do you mind real quick, Jordy? I'll talk to them about Discord. Do you mind just hopping on Sleeper and seeing what Jaleel McLaughlin did against the Chargers in that game?
Yeah.
Because if none of their running backs did anything, then we won't take a shot at any of these guys. But while Jordy's pulling that up, if you guys want to come join our Discord, you can take advantage of that Parlay Play promo, and you'll get a month in here. We have a great crew of people, killer community. We have a lot of fun. These guys have been in here all day. A bunch of our community members have Outlier and DG, and so they all have been just working on NBA and NFL all day, which is nice. The community, it's strong. We have a lot of great players in here. If you want to join us and you don't feel like signing up for Parlay Play, or you already signed up for Parlay Play, you can just go straight through Patreon and you sign up there. That manages our subscriptions. Once you've signed up, it's $12.99 a month, less than 50 cents a day. We brought that price down after Cyber Monday and Black Friday. We're like, how do we just get this price lower regularly? And we found a way, and I'm stoked we did. But so yeah, once you sign up, go into settings, you go to connected apps in the menu bar, and then you'll log into your Discord from Patreon, and then you'll be all set to go. And then you can also follow us on X, TikTok, and Instagram. We are just at Backdoor Fantasy Sports is the handle if you want to follow us. Did you already pull that up on Sleeper?
Yeah, he went nuts. He had 3 attempts for 8 yards.
8 yards. Okay. So maybe that's the thing. Maybe it was all of the rushing was Bo Nix there. Last thing I'll do before we get out of here, I'm just kind of curious if let's see, go back to Javonte. I'm just curious to see what the matchup is like for receiving yards for running backs too. So if we go over here to rushing and receiving yards, so yeah, 20th in rushing yards allowed, 12th in receiving yards allowed. Well, take that information and see if either of these two running backs, Audric Estime or Javonte Williams, might want to be someone that you consider. But Bo Nix, I love that. I love that rushing yards play now. Now that we've looked into it a little bit deeper. But guys, we appreciate you tuning into the show. If you enjoy our content, make sure you like the video. Drop us a comment if you have any questions about plays, or if you have a play that you're excited about. Just let the community know who tunes into the videos. Drop in the comments, and we can see what plays are on your radar. But we're going to go straight from this, jump into the NBA slate. So we'll catch you guys in just a few for the NBA picks.
Good luck, guys.